This is Philippe. He's a Christmas ornament who was accidentally thrown out with the Christmas tree. These are Philippe's friends. Construction Carl, Sir Edward's Postal, Dive Bomb Debbie, and Mrs. McPositive. They're helping Philippe on his long journey to get home. Now this little boy is a wizard. He's going to cast a spell using Sir Edward's magic to transport Philippe all the way back to where he belongs. Unfortunately, the little boy is lost, and he's dropped his parents' phone number into a sewer grate. So now, Philippe and his friends are going to go get the wizard his phone number back. Of course, it won't be easy. For Philippe, it never is. The phone number is surrounded by an army of rats with sharp claws. They better not scratch my Medal of Honor, Philippe says. Already, his coat has a nick out of it from a giant metal dragon. The paint on his boots got washed away by a watery vortex. His hat got splashed by a hailstorm, and his silver face got bitten by baby spiders. But as long as his Medal of Honor is okay, he can still fulfill his wish to be the most special ornament on the tree. Ready, team? Dive Bomb Debbie asks. Oh, I can't go in there, Mrs. McPositive says. Not with those rats. Dive Bomb rolls her eyes. Fine. We'll do it without you. Come on, agents. Carl and Philippe hold onto either side of Dive Bomb Debbie and they parachute into the pit of rats. They land next to the piece of paper with the phone number and they stuff it into Debbie's pack. The army of rats glares at them. The king of the rats jumps on Philippe and scratches his Medal of Honor. Not my Medal of Honor, Philippe cries. How can he be the most special Christmas ornament on the tree with a scratched Medal of Honor? And now they're surrounded by vicious rodents. He'll never get home. It was an honor serving with you, Agents P and C, Debbie says. After everything, here is where Philippe's story ends. Get away from my friends, Mrs. McPositive shouts from above. The candy dispenser 2000 launches herself off the edge of the grate. As she plummets downwards, she fires pink candy from her mouth. She goes click, 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 and candy shoots in all directions. The smell of sugar clouds the air, and the Rat King jumps up, catching a candy in his mouth. All the rats are jumping for candies, completely forgetting about Philippe and his friends. Run for it, Sir Edward shouts from above. Go left, now right. Sir Edward guides them through the swarm of rats who are too busy eating candy to care. Philippe and his friends make it to the wall. All right, Carl says. Everyone, hold on. And just as Debbie got them safely into the sewer, now it is up to Carl to climb them all out. They are almost at the top when the Rat King sees them and hisses angrily. He jumps up and grabs onto Carl's leg. They are all going to get pulled back into the pit. Carl growls and gives his hip a sharp jerk. The The leg that the Rat King clings to snaps out of its socket. The leg and the Rat King fall back into the pit. Carl gets Philippe and their friends to safety. When the boy wizard looks down, he sees a very curious sight. There is Philippe and his friends, and they have the paper with the boy's phone number on it. He calls his parents on a nearby payphone, and they are very happy to pick him up. The boy wizard takes Philippe and his friends home with him. Construction Carls gets to spend his days building block castles, which Dive Bomb Debbie protects from enemy spies. Mrs. McPositive shoots blocks instead of candies to help out. Everyone is happy, except Philippe. Why hasn't the boy wizard used your magic to send me home? He asks Sir Edwards. Because, Sir Edwards replies, you must first give him the right spell. That night, Philippe has a dream. He dreams about the day he was accidentally thrown out with the tree. And he remembers strange markings on the front door. He's found his spell. It was in him all along. When the boy wizard wakes up in the morning, he sees a curious sight. On a piece of paper, he sees a snowman drawn in crayon, followed by a house with a roof caved in, a spaceship, 2 hockey sticks, a slingshot, a snake, and a pickaxe. It spells 8 Malley Street. And so, the boy wizard pulls out a magical wand called a pen, and with it, he writes the magical spell, also called an address, on a mystic parchment called an envelope. And as he does so, Philippe says his final goodbyes to his companions. Dive Bomb Debbie salutes Philippe. Mrs. McPositive presents him with her last piece of candy. And through teary eyes, Construction Carl gives Philippe his pickaxe. Philippe looks at where Construction Carl's missing leg ought to be. Philippe removes his Medal of Honor and pins it on Construction Carl's chest. For bravery, above and beyond the call of duty, Philippe says, and for being my friend. Then it is time. The wizard picks up Sir Edwards and licks the back of the stamp. He then affixes it on the envelope. My magic has been activated, Sir Edward says, with a satisfied sigh. And then the wizard seals Philippe inside. For Philippe, it feels like only a moment has passed since the envelope has been closed. So when he hears a faint dripping sound, he thinks the spell has somehow failed. But when the bubble wrap is pulled away, Philippe stares into his boy Dylan's face. Mom! Mom! The boy cries, holding Philippe up for her to see. Dylan's mom stares in surprise. Well, I'll be, she murmurs, and just in time for Christmas. Philippe is terribly excited to be home, and he waits impatiently for Dylan to pull out his paintbrushes to make Philippe look shiny and new. Don't forget the sandpaper, Philippe says. He can't wait for all his scratches to be buffed away, and then, and only then, can Philippe get his wish to be the most special ornament on the tree. But instead, Dylan walks straight for the tree. He takes out a hook and hangs Philippe as is, scraped, bumped, and bruised, right next to the beautiful crystal ornament, Princess Potpourri. Dumpster chic, Princess Potpourri sneers, looking distastefully at all his chips and scratches. I don't understand, Philippe says. Why isn't Dylan painting me? Because, the ornament Bossy Bear explains, hanging 2 branches over, every one of those scars tells a story, and Dylan knows that. Well, Philippe says, thinking this over as he looks at the cut in the hem of his coat, this is where I almost got shredded by the tree-eating dragon. Yeah, right. Princess Potpourri rolls her pretty eyes with disbelief. But don't worry, Louise still loves you. Louise is the house cat, and here she comes bounding across the living room right for Philippe. Princess Potpourri smirks, recalling, of course, how terrified Philippe is of the furry feline. But Philippe doesn't even flinch. He simply pulls out Carl's pickaxe and begins play fighting with the cat. Louise swats excitedly at the plastic tool, and he bats back at the soft pads on her feet. She purrs contentedly. To Philippe's own surprise, this is actually fun. What about the scratches on your face? Bossy Bear asks. Ah, yes, replies Philippe. That's where the army of spiders bit me. Then what happened? Shouts Gabriel the angel. You're not actually listening to all this, Princess Potpourri snaps. Louise hisses and swats her, making the princess screech. Well, Philippe says, it all began after a wondrous Christmas day. Princess Potpourri folds her pretty crystal arms over her chest and looks away as if she doesn't care about Philippe's story. But when Bossy Bear coughs to clear his throat of a hairball, just as Philippe and his friends are about to dive into a pit of rats, it is Princess Potpourri who shh the older bear, because she is trying to listen. Philippe finally gets his wish. He is the most special ornament on the whole Christmas tree.